Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to deliver a lesson for class 12th, subject Zoology. My today's topic is allergies. Now, allergy is basically hypersensitiveness of a person to some foreign substance, which we call as allergen or antigen, that comes in contact with our body or enters our body. And in fact, allergy is an exaggerated immune response to a particular allergen. Now, these allergens or antigens, which act as antigens, are the substances that cause allergic reactions. And the various common allergens are such as dust, pollen, mites, mold, spores, fabrics, feathers, fur, plants. Some foods may also cause allergy, and sometimes excessive heat, cold, and sunlight also act as allergens. Thus, these allergens are categorized both into biotic and abiotic allergens. Now, whenever an allergen comes in contact or enters our body, it basically is countered by the mast cells in our body. Mast cells are basophils. In fact, these basophils, as is shown in this sketch, on their surface have a immunoglobulin, that is IgE immunoglobulin on their surface. And whenever this allergen enters the body, it gets attached to the surface of these mast cells or basophils, and an antigen-antibody reaction starts at the surface of these mast cells or basophils. As a result of the interaction of this antigen and antibody reaction, these mast cells burst and they release various chemical substances such as histamine, serotonin, bradykinin, etc., which in fact trigger the inflammatory reaction. And inflammation, we know, is basically reaction of a living tissue to an injury. Here the injurious agent is basically this allergen, which leads to the various symptoms of inflammation such as redness, swelling, etc. as it is because basically this histamine causes the vasodilation. The local blood vessels dilate, which drain more and more blood towards the site of this antigen antibody interaction. Thus the allergens mainly involve, number one is immunoglobulin E, which we abbreviate as IgE, and other chemical substances as histamine, serotonin, and bradykinin, which are released by mast cells or basophils. Now, the symptoms of these allergies. So far the symptoms are concerned, the skin and mucous membrane are mostly affected. Therefore, the common symptoms include sneezing, watering eyes, a running nose, and difficulty in breathing, which is also called as dyspnea, that is the difficulty in breathing. Now, this, as we already know, that these allergies involve mainly IgE antibodies and chemicals like histamine, serotonin from the mast cells. These IgE antibodies are produced in response to an antigen, that is mast cells and basophils. The allergic tendency is genetically passed from parent to the child and is characterized by the presence of large quantities of IgE antibodies in the blood. Now, first exposure to an antigen causes primary immune response, but it does not cause allergy. When allergens enter the body second time, it causes secondary immune response or immune reaction, and a subsequent allergic reaction occurs that causes marked dilation of all peripheral blood vessels and capillaries because of the release of histamine, and become highly permeable so that large amount of fluid leaks out from the blood into the tissue. Now, some common forms of these allergies are such as hay fever, asthma, and anaphylactic shock or anaphylactic reaction. Now, hay fever is the form of allergy due to the pollens of grasses, trees, and other plants. It is characterized by inflammation of the membrane lining, the nose, that is the nasal mucosa, and sometimes of the conjunctiva of the eyes. The symptoms obviously include sneezing, running or blocked nose, and watering eyes due to the histamine release. And this reaction often responds to the treatment with antihistamine drugs. Now, the second common allergic disorder is this, what we call as asthma. Now, what is asthma? It's a condition in which a person's airways become inflamed, narrow, and severe, and produce extra mucus, which leads to the difficulty in breathing. The tissues surrounding the bronchioles of the lungs swell up and compress the bronchioles. Hence, during this disorder, there is difficulty in breathing. Now, the administration of antihistamine has little effect on the course of asthma because histamines does not appear to be major factor causing the asthmatic reaction. Treatment with bronchodilators with or without corticosteroids, usually administered via aerosol or dry powder inhalers. Now, avoidance of known allergens, especially the house dust mite, allergens arising from the domestic pets and food additives, will help to reduce the frequency of attacks, as well the discouragement of smoking. And the third and more important allergic reaction is anaphylaxis or anaphylactic shock. Now, anaphylactic shock is an extreme, often life-threatening allergic reaction to an antigen to which the body has become hypersensitive. It is basically an exaggerated secondary immune response to a particular allergen. The reaction can occur within seconds or minutes of exposure to an allergen. Now, the use of drugs such as antihistamines, adrenaline, and steroid reverse the effect of these allergens and thus quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. Thank you.